Joe Hopkins here, and today I'm talking about what budget guitar brand is the most playable. And playable, I mean, you get it out of the box. How playable is it? Now that can sometimes be a little bit of an opinion, right? Different people think different things about different guitars, but usually some things are pretty universal. So I'm just going to go over my experience with several brands. I'm only talking about ones that I have experience to some degree or another with, and how playable I found their guitars right out of the box. How'd they do? I am going to talk about price point a little bit, but we know that's not necessarily an important thing with playability. A more expensive guitar, you expect it to be more playable, but some of these guitars will surprise you. So I was going to start with Glarry, right? Definite budget guitar brand. This guitar was like $100. Budget. And I have to say, of all the guitars I'm going over today, this was the least playable right out of the box. But with that said, it was still fairly playable right out of the box. I didn't have to adjust the truss rod, I don't think. I basically made a few minor adjustments, right, as far as setup and all goes. But pretty much right away, you could play it, tune it up, and just play it. And that's kind of what you're looking for, especially in a $100 guitar if you're a beginner, or if you're buying this for a beginner, you know, you want to be able to play it. You're a beginner. You don't want to have to do expert stuff like adjusting things, right? Glarry. Not the most playable guitar I have. Probably, you know, at the lower end of playability, but still quite playable right out of the box. There's nothing stopping you, right? Let's see, what do I got next? Let's talk about a guitar brand I have a ton of experience with, Harley Benton. Harley Benton, yes, how playable is it right out of the box? Like, how much do you have to do to it? I own a bunch of Harley Benton guitars. I've done a bunch of reviews on Harley Benton guitars and other instruments, violins, banjos. I've bought a bunch of their stuff. And in general, these are very playable right out of the box. Definitely better than Glarry, right? They tend to be moderately well set up. I haven't really done anything to the majority of them. Like this one, I could probably lower the action a bit, but in general, it's intonated well. It has like, I don't know, a little bit above a medium height action. It's not low. It's a little on the higher side, but still pretty good, right? And that's the way most of their stuff has come to me right out of the box, is that they are, yeah, very playable, especially considering that it's not like a custom setup or anything like that. You get it, you can play it, right? I would put Harley Benton as very playable right out of the box. If you're somebody who prefers a lower action, you like shredding on the thing, you're probably going to have to lower the action. You're going to have to do a lot less than with the Glarry, but you're still going to have to do a little bit. You're probably not going to have to fiddle with the intonation much. You might, I don't know. Most of the Harley Bentons I got were intonated pretty well, but of course, if you change the action, you should probably recheck the intonation. That changes things. So, Harley Benton, right? Definitely a playable guitar. I would give them my thumbs up of approval. How about one of the most popular brands of budget guitar, and that's Firefly. Firefly guitars. I have found them to be very good guitars. But as far as playable right out of the box, well, you are going to have to do some setup, right? Maybe Firefly has gotten better recently. Some people say that they have. It's very playable right out of the box. For any beginner, if you're an intermediate or an expert player, you're probably going to want to adjust the action. You know, the bridge height, you're probably going to want to adjust the intonation. You're probably, so far from what I've seen from Firefly, I haven't had to fiddle with the truss rod adjustment. I didn't have to on this at all. And I've got the action pretty low now. I made a lot of, you know, I've done a setup on this. I did a video about setting this guitar up. and it came out really well. I didn't have to mess with the truss rod any. Anytime you like get the action really low, you might have to adjust the truss rod, you might not. Playable out of the box? Yes, it's playable out of the box. Is it where you're going to want it to be if you're a more advanced player? Maybe not. Maybe not. You're going to have to adjust some things, but it's a good guitar for adjusting things. Nothing on it was particularly difficult. Let me put it that way. And that's always a good thing. Some guitars are difficult to make adjustments on. It's the hardest thing was just the fact that you have to adjust the intonation, you have to detune it and move the string out of the way. But that's like with most Les Paul style guitars, you know, to get to that screw. But there you go. Very playable. I like Fireflies for their playability, right? And their budget on that. They are very, very excellent guitars. Now, let's go to another brand, Xaviere. I own a couple of Xaviere guitars, and what I've found, this is my Telecaster model, what I've found is playability is excellent on these guitars. It's, for an inexpensive guitar, this is about as playable as anything you'd get from Fender. To be honest with you, I've played a number of Fender instruments, and this is a Telecaster style guitar, so it's very Fender-ish, right? And it's pretty much just like a Telecaster. So if you do have any adjustments to make, if you're familiar with Telecasters, there you go. A guitar like this is about the same, and their other offerings, same kind of thing. Their Strats are very much like a Strat. Their Les Pauls are very much like a Les Paul. But yes, very playable right out of the box. I got this thing, I took it out, tuned it up, and played it. It was even intonated quite well, right? I didn't really have to do much to it. Now, I could lower the action a little bit on this, but on this guitar, I kind of prefer the action being up a little bit because I kind of like to break out the slide on this once in a while, and you don't want the action real low when you're playing slide. But the action certainly isn't high. And that's the way it came, right? With about a medium action, which is what I like on a lot of my electric guitars. Sometimes you do want a low action, and some of my guitars do have a low action. Let's go to another brand, one that advertises a custom setup, and that's Hardluck Kings. This is their Bombshell model. Their Bombshell is pretty much, you know, Stratocaster style guitar. Everything's very Strat, same type of tremolo setup, same type of everything, right? Strat. This was supposed to come with a custom setup, and it did, and the setup is quite good. I requested a medium setup. I didn't want it high, but I didn't want it real low, because like with the Tele, sometimes I like to use the slide on some of these guitars, and when I'm doing slide, I really like the single coils for slide. So I ordered a medium setup, and I got a medium height on the strings. Perfectly intonated. This thing is unbelievably playable right out of the box. Very, very good guitar. You might have seen the video I did where I had one problem with this, which is not the fault of Hardluck Kings. I did have to make one small truss rod adjustment. And that was only because the wood kind of shifted a bit, you know? I live in a much moister environment than moist. I said moist. A much moister environment than where this guitar came from. It came from Southern California, and I'm here in West Virginia. So it showed up. It hit the humidity in my studio or in the environment around here, and after a couple days, I had like 2 dead frets on the neck and had to make a little truss rod adjustment. Other than that, though, it was set up very well, incredibly playable right out of the box. Incredibly playable. I'd say if you buy Hardluck Kings, chances are this thing's going to be just about perfect right out of the box. That's what they advertise. You're paying for the setup. Don't forget that, right? So, I mean, and this guitar was $200. Shipping and setup added to it, added about another $100. So $300, not a bad deal with a custom setup. And it sounds good too. So I will set that there. Now, so far, I haven't talked about any guitars I've gotten with really bad setups, because I haven't really gotten any that are unplayable or difficult to play out of the box. Even the Glarry, right out of the box, played pretty good. But which ones are the most playable out of the box? And I'd have to say my top two, right? Number two would be my IYV. And what shocks me about saying this, this was, what, $180, and that's with tax from Amazon. Amazon, you get free shipping, but you got to pay sales tax. So I paid $180 for this guitar. $180. And so I expected, because it's coming from the factory, not from a store like you get from Xaviere or Harley Benton or even Hardluck Kings. It's not coming from a guitar shop. It's coming from the factory that makes them. I kind of expected that I would have to adjust a lot on it. And I didn't. This thing is perfect. The action is relatively low, actually. It's a pretty great guitar for shredding on, if you do a lot of that shred stuff. I don't, personally. I play a lot of blues rock stuff. But if you do shred, it's really good for that. And, I mean, the intonation was right. That's what surprised me. With a company like IYV, you expect it to be kind of like the Firefly guitars, where it gets there and you got to do the intonation and you got to make some adjustments and you're going to be fiddling with the bridge a bit to get it right. No, $180 all together, right? And right out of the box, just absolutely perfect. Not just playable, even the pickups were set to the right heights. And it's not coming from a store. I mean, you know, you expect, like, Harley Benton, right? Somebody at Tome Music actually picked up the guitar and handled it and looked at it and probably, you know, at least saw if it needed something done. Same thing with, like, Xaviere. That comes from their store. They can do you expect them to do a little bit of a setup. Nothing extreme. Hardluck Kings, they advertise a setup. IYV, you wouldn't expect that good. This thing, I'd say, is the second most playable guitar right out of the box that I've ever had. Ever. It's unbelievable as far as electric guitars go. Right? And then, my number one, my Wolf WLP. Hands down, most playable guitar I've ever owned right out of the box. All-in-one guitars, like with Hardluck Kings, advertises their setup, right? The thing is, they have free setup, free shipping, right? Hardluck Kings, with setup and shipping, you're going to pay about $100 more than the list price. The difference is, though, Wolf AIO does cost a little bit more. So you are paying for the setup. You are. It's just in the price that they list, right? But hands down, best playing guitar right out of the box. I mean, not just most playable, best playing guitar, plain and simple. But what I find to be really crazy, these are made by IYV, right? And then it goes to All-in-One Guitars in California, and All-in-One Guitars does a setup. So you expect this at $450 to be set up way better than the IYV guitar that's just coming straight from the factory. But it's not. It's set up better. It's definitely more playable. The frets are better. You know, you can tell, yeah, All-in-One Guitars did some fret work. Definitely smoother, better frets. They're the same frets. They're just, these are finished up better. But, okay, you'd expect this to be way more playable. But this one is damn close for less than half the price. Honestly. This is a better guitar. No doubt about it. But this is really, really close at being less money. That's why I say playability isn't about the price. But I kind of have to mention the price a bit. So, hey, most playable guitar. Definitely Wolf. AIO does a great job. I would expect Hardluck Kings to be above IYV because they advertise their setup. And Hardluck Kings, let me get this up here. Their guitar is damn close. It is a very good setup, very, very playable right out of the box. But that IYV is just a hair better. Just a hair. Now, I'll tell you this, if you're worried about, you know, how the frets feel, the frets on the Hardluck Kings are as good as the ones on the Wolf. Like, they did a really great job with the fret work and leveling and crowning them and getting them just absolutely nice. But as far as just playability, that IYV is so close to the Wolf, it's not even funny. I'd put it Wolf, IYV, and then Hardluck Kings. And then, honestly, Harley Benton or Xaviere, they're right there neck and neck with Firefly right below them. And Firefly is very playable guitar once you get it right. You just got to do some things. With Glarry in last, but once again, Glarry is $100 with free shipping. I mean, come on, it's playable. What more would you want? So, you know, I hope you guys liked my list. If you want to see a review on any of these guitars, right? Here in a minute at the end, there's going to be some links to other things. I got a reviews playlist. I'll make sure it's on there. You can go to my playlist and look up the reviews on any of these guitars or others that I've reviewed. And, you know, hope you guys enjoy the information. Yeah, you want a guitar perfect out of the box? Yeah, Wolf. Wolf AIO. Perfect out of the box. They're amazing, right? But then you could get an IYV for less than half the price. But, and I'm going to say but, that green IYV, yeah, if green ain't your color, this is the only Les Paul they had. If you don't like green, I don't know what to tell you. Get a Wolf or a Firefly or something like that. Anyway, all of these brands are great, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one, right? Subscribe to my channel and check me out for some more good content. Listen to some of my songs. Shameless self-promotion here. I'm a good musician. I like my stuff. Maybe you'll like it too. All right? Love you guys. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.